Hello YouTube, today we're going to be talking about the Invader Zim comics made by Jonan Vasquez, the same guy behind Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Squee. I've been a fan of the show since it came out in the early 2000s and I was approximately 5. I feel like this shows like this and the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy did a lot to inform my development at those early years, for better or for worse. So when it was announced there's going to be a resurgence of Zim related stuff, including comic books and now a movie, I was mildly excited. Normally comic books based off cartoons are kind of meh, just being more of the show without offering anything essential. However, it's worth noting that Jonan Vasquez started with comic books, and so this is more of a return to form for him. The first issue opens with Dib being disgusting. I mean, look at him. Disgusting. Dib has locked himself in his room, obsessing over the mysterious absence of Zim, which I can't help but feel is a commentary on the fandom. It's certainly not a coincidence that the first Zim-related content in over 10 years opens with a plot about Zim being gone for a long time. Once it's revealed that Zim has been hiding in the toilet this whole time, Dib takes it upon himself to work out and hit the gym. There's a cute interaction between him and Gaz, which ends with Gaz performing Dib's montage music, something that would have never happened in this show. And I feel like Gaz is generally more well written here, something Vasquez himself said he wanted to work on. Interspersed between the montage is an interaction with Zim and some alien named 777. Apparently, Zim has his children. I love 777's character design and I kind of want to see more of him. Skipping over a few details, and Dib and Zim are now engaged in a big space chase. Space is big and cool, and so having space is good. Overall, I thought this issue was very good. The next issue, we find Zim has become the darling of the art world in a larger scheme to erect a space donkey to destroy all of humanity. I don't need to go too into detail this one because that would just involve me explaining why every joke is funny, which would simultaneously ruin them. There is one part I didn't like, however, where Zim tasks Skur with guarding Dib and Dib tricks Skur into instead guarding a pin. A common criticism leveled against Invader Zim is that it tries too hard to be quirky and weird, with Gur being a main problem in that regard. He really just seems to take on whatever character trait at random without much logic behind why. And whenever it comes to things that just waste time like it does here, it is annoying. In the next issue, Zim has been given a burrito by the almighty Talus, which he thinks is important. The almighty Talus used this to have fun at Zim's expense, the catch being that Zim sends anything back through the portal, half the universe will explode. This is yet another issue that lives and dies by the quality of its gags. My favorite being when Zim hits the old lady with the burrito in this scene, which implies these adorable creatures were given sentience only to have it ripped away shortly after. The final issue is a very interesting one. It opens with Dib turning off Gaz's game to show her something that nobody could possibly care about. Here we get to see the more self-centered side of Dib, which is important to giving the audience okay to laugh when he undergoes unknowable pain later. Speaking of, the title of this issue is A Humble Bundle of Horror, so maybe you can see where this is going based on reference alone. After a hilarious gag where Dib's dad sells him in order to keep an eggs poacher, we end up with Dib being subjected to death in a series of different video games. Two things to take note of is 1, Dib experiences all the pain and suffering his video game counterpart does, and 2, the games they choose to reference are awesome. Like sure, of course they did Minecraft, everyone has parodied Minecraft, but after that they do The Binding of Isaac, a game that's rated M for a reason, I might add. I think first impressions of this game tend to be be funny, and saying this is great. All the stuff revolving around gamer culture makes me cringe though, because it's all played out at this point, but I digress. Seeing all the different art styles is cool, and it feels like they had a lot of fun making this one. Really, it's a simple concept executed very well. It's also the kind of thing they probably couldn't have gotten away with on the show. After all, the comic is rated teens and up, whereas the parental rating for the show was 8 and up, so they can get away with a little bit more. I also have a sneaking suspicion Oni Press is generally less strict than Nickelodeon. I was originally going to skim over this in the second volume and mostly talk about the third one in this video, because the third one is where the series really pops off, but that's not really how it turned out, obviously, so be expecting a part 2 next week. Bye!